Alaska.
Right now, at least, global markets are hearing what they want to hear from two of Europe's most powerful players who are singing from the same song sheet.
We are determined to do what is necessary to ensure recapitalisation of our banks, to ensure adequate credit supply, the basis for good economic development.
This crisis, which is a financial crisis and created a lot of suffering in our countries and the world overall, requires from us a sustainable and comprehensive response.
Music to the ears of investors around the world, but precious little detail.
It's not the time to go into details of all the questions that were raised. We will stick to our principles and we will have further meetings with the European Council and the Eurogroup before the end of this month.
All we have at this point, as I say, is a plan to have a plan, but given where markets had got to, given how much economic weakness and policy uncertainty markets had priced, I think that's enough for now.
France and Germany are promising to be armed with agreed solutions to some massive problems by next month's G20 meeting. But some say they're simply papering over the divisions.
The German government is now clearly pushing for Greece to default, and the French government is very much opposed to such a move because it would probably cost French banks and insurance companies much more than the German counterparts. Nevertheless,
France and Germany are promising a plan to protect the banks in the event of a Greek default and an agreement on what role the EFSF, the European Rescue Fund, should play.
For the Germans, the EFSF was a tool just as a means of last resort, really, in case some periphery banks needed recapitalization, but they never really believed that the German government had to provide additional guarantees so that the French government can bail out its banks.
But buying global confidence will prove costly. Not only do investors want a plan protecting banks from the painful plunge of their Greek asset values, but there's a second demand.
That banks still have sufficient levels of capital to cope with any further sovereign write-downs.
The Belgian government moved quickly to put out one spot fire, agreeing to buy the Belgian operations of Dexia for €4 billion, ending a 15-year cross-border relationship with France.
We have sent our bid to take over 100% of the Dexia Belgian shares, and the board of Dexia has just confirmed to accept the offer.
The deal also involves guaranteeing 60% of a so-called bad bank to be set up for Dexia's troubled assets.
It is a canary in the coal mine.
That's what some people are saying about the latest job ads survey in Australia, which shows ads fell for a third straight month.
It clearly suggests that things have turned domestically, but it's not supportive of significant weakness across the Australian economy.
That may be in the hands of a handful of Europe.